Breaking news. Oil diplomacy ignites in the South China Sea. The world was jolted awake this week by headlines flashing across television screens and news apps. Philippines and China resume high-stakes oil talks in Fujian. It was honestly a dramatic moment. Photographers snapped shots as diplomats from both countries walked into a sleek conference room at a luxury hotel in coastal Fujian, China. Tension was thick in the air. Security teams flanked the entrance, and journalists jostled for prime spots, hoping to catch a glimpse of the negotiators. Inside, serious faces gathered around a long oval table. Chinese flags stood alongside Philippine banners, a rare sight in recent years. The delegates exchanged cautious greetings, each side aware that the stakes had never been higher. Everyone in the room knew that these talks could shape the economic and political future of Southeast Asia. The South China Sea has seen many disputes, but this meeting was different. Both countries seemed determined to find common ground, at least when it comes to oil and gas, a resource that could change the game for millions of people. This was not just another round of failed discussions. It was a fresh start, fueled by urgent needs and global uncertainty. For years, discussions about joint oil and gas exploration between the Philippines and China have been, well, pretty rocky. Previous talks often ended in frustration. In 2022, negotiations collapsed over disagreements about sovereignty and legal frameworks. Both sides accused each other of inflexibility, and trust was broken. So, what changed? A series of quiet back-channel meetings, shifting global conditions, and economic pressure on both nations led to a reopening of dialogue. The recent meeting in Fujian was the first significant face-to-face session in over a year. This round was different, more urgent, more focused on practical steps rather than grand statements. The South China Sea is rich in oil and natural gas, but it is also one of the world's most contested areas. China claims nearly all of it. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and others also assert rights over different parts. Past efforts to cooperate have faltered over these overlapping claims, yet the need for energy and the impact of global oil prices have forced both sides to reconsider. There is now a shared understanding. Compromise is necessary if both countries want to benefit. At the heart of these talks are competing national interests. China insists its claim to the South China Sea is based on centuries of history and old maps. Chinese officials say their rights are, quote, indisputable. Any agreement on joint exploration, they argue, must respect Beijing's sovereignty. The Philippines, on the other hand, points to international law. The 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling rejected China's sweeping claims. Filipino leaders say any deal must not, quote, harm national sovereignty or set dangerous precedents. Manila wants clear assurances that whatever is extracted from the sea will benefit Filipinos first. During the latest talks, negotiators discussed how to share profits and divide responsibilities. There was no shortage of suspicion. Philippine officials worried about being, quote, locked into agreements that could later be used against them. Chinese delegates pushed for more control over operations and technology. Despite these differences, both countries agreed on one thing: the world is watching, and failure to cooperate could mean missing out on billions of dollars in energy resources. International law plays a huge role in these discussions. The Philippines points to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and the 2016 arbitral ruling. These documents say China's 9-line claim has no legal basis. For Manila, sticking to these principles is non-negotiable. China, however, often dismisses these rulings as, quote, irrelevant. It prefers to handle disputes through direct talks and what it calls mutual understanding. This approach frustrates other claimants, who see it as a way for China to control the narrative and avoid legal limits. Past agreements have tried to bridge the gap. In 2018, both countries signed a memorandum of understanding to work together on oil and gas. But when it came to specifics, like where to drill, how to split profits, and what laws to follow, everything stalled. The talks ended in a deadlock, with both sides blaming each other. Now, the pressure is on to create a framework that respects both international law and each country's so-called red lines. It is a delicate balance, and any misstep could unravel months of progress. One big question hangs over these talks: will the Philippines stick to its policies this time? Skepticism is high. In the past, changing political winds in Manila have led to sudden reversals. One president would favor joint exploration, the next would pull back, citing sovereignty. Analysts inside and outside the Philippines worry about consistency. There is pressure from within. Opposition lawmakers and activists warn of, selling out the country. From outside, the United States and other regional partners urge Manila to stand firm against Chinese pressure. President Marcos faces a tough balancing act. He must show strength, protect Philippine interests, and at the same time, deliver economic relief. Critics point out that past deals fell apart because one side changed its mind or tried to rewrite the rules mid-game. As a result, Chinese officials have become wary. They want guarantees that whatever is agreed will survive changes in government or political mood. Both sides know that without trust and predictability, no deal can last. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has been vocal about the need for, a new approach. In recent interviews, he stressed the importance of separating trade and economic cooperation from territorial disputes. "We can't let one issue poison the entire relationship," he told reporters. "We must work together where we can, and stand our ground where we must." Marcos also hinted at a reset in relations with China. He said the Philippines would seek mutually beneficial arrangements in oil and gas, but without giving up an inch of claimed territory. "Our resources are for our people," he declared firmly. "But we know energy security requires cooperation." In the same interviews, Marcos acknowledged the risks. He said, "We are walking a fine line. We don't want to escalate tensions, but we can't ignore our rights." He emphasized that any agreement must be transparent and protect the interests of ordinary Filipinos. His words signal a more pragmatic but cautious stance. The world is watching to see if this new tone will lead to real breakthroughs. The urgency behind these talks is real. Every day, millions of Filipinos feel the sting of rising fuel prices. Jeepney drivers, tricycle operators, and farmers all struggle as costs go up. The promise of local oil and gas from the South China Sea could change everything. Energy experts say the area holds enough reserves to power the Philippines for decades. If joint exploration succeeds, the country could reduce its dependence on imported oil. That would mean lower prices at the pump and more stable electricity bills for families. But there is also risk. Bad deals or failed projects could leave the country more vulnerable. Past attempts at offshore drilling have been plagued by delays, legal battles, and environmental concerns. Still, the potential rewards are just too big to ignore. Ordinary people want answers. For many, the bottom line is simple. Will these talks finally bring relief, or just more empty promises? This moment is shaped by events far beyond Asia. Conflict in the Middle East has rattled oil markets worldwide. Attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and disruptions in supply chains have pushed prices higher. Countries like the Philippines, which import most of their energy, are feeling the pain. The war in Ukraine also adds pressure. Russian oil exports are uncertain, and sanctions have tightened global supplies. Big powers like the United States and China compete for energy security, raising the stakes for everyone else. In this climate, the South China Sea's untapped resources look more valuable than ever. Both the Philippines and China know that securing new supplies could mean less vulnerability to global shocks. This makes their talks not just a local matter, but one with global implications. The urgency to act is clear. Delay could mean missing a rare chance to protect both national interests and regional stability. If these talks succeed, the impact could be huge. Joint oil and gas exploration might bring billions in revenue, create jobs, and reduce the Philippines' reliance on foreign oil. It could also show that rivals can cooperate, even when disputes are deep, but the risks remain. A failed deal could fuel more tension, embolden hardliners, and disrupt peace in the region. Other claimants, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, are watching closely. How the Philippines and China handle this could set a precedent for others. For now, the world waits. Will pragmatism win over politics? Can leaders find a path that brings real benefits to their people without giving up core interests? The next few weeks may decide not just the future of oil in the South China Sea, but the future of peace and cooperation in Asia. One thing is certain, the stakes have never been higher, and the outcome will shape the destiny of millions.